If you are in the market for a new utility iron in 2021, then this video should help. I have 9 different models in front of me here, and I've tested them all on a GC quad launch monitor using Titleist Pro V1X golf balls, and also out here on the range at West Hill. And we're going to split up the verdict in 5 different parts. We're going to divide them up into looks, feel, performance, value, and then the all-important overall verdict. Right, let's get started. When it comes to utility irons, you have a choice to make between choosing something that looks more iron-like in its profile and then choosing something that looks more hybrid-like in the way that it looks down behind the ball. And what we've done here is place them in order, so from the sort of slimmest over on the left-hand side through to the largest, the biggest profile down behind the ball on the right-hand side. Of course, the thinner options with a little less offset do look particularly good down behind the ball and in the bag, but the question you'll need to answer is about how much flight and forgiveness, how much of a confidence-inspiring look you need down behind the ball. And don't forget that you'll also need to find something that fits in with the other clubs you have at the top end of your bag. So there will be an ideal shape and size for your eye and your game. Now, the one model that really stands out for the way that it looks is the Ping G425 crossover because of that black finish. I think it looks lovely down behind the ball. It really frames the ball nicely at address. And I think actually that with the black finish, it possibly makes this head look a little bit smaller than it actually is, which will be exactly what some golfers are looking for. For me, I think if it was my choice, I'd probably lean towards something that just had a slightly thicker top line, just to instill a bit more confidence down behind the ball. And I really do like the look of this TaylorMade Sim UDI. I think it's compact, and yet that thicker top line just makes you feel as if you can get away with those mishits. So if I was choosing one of these purely based on the way that it looked down behind the ball, it would be the TaylorMade Sim UDI. Now, when we talk about feel, one of the key components to that is how the club sounds through impact. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit one shot with each club. We're going to turn the microphones up so you can get a sense for how they sound through the ball, and hopefully that will give you an idea for what to expect from each of these in terms of the feel. Now, from the testing that I did, I think there were some interesting differences in terms of feel. There were some models that were more iron-like in the way that they felt through the ball, so quite powerful, quite solid sounding, and then other models that had that slightly higher pitch sound that you might expect from a kind of driving iron or a utility iron. So the two that really stood out in terms of that kind of lower pitched, more iron-like sound and feel were the Callaway X-Forged UT and the Srixon ZX. And then the others, I'd say, all fell somewhere on the spectrum of just being that little bit higher pitch through the ball. And for me, personally, if it was my choice, I think I'd probably veer towards one of those irons that offers that slightly higher pitch sound. I think utility irons, for me, can feel quite hard to hit. So the ability to feel as if you can make quite a smooth swing and still get the ball up and away because it feels easy to hit is a real benefit. So if I was making my choice, I think the two that stood out in terms of the feel were the Titleist U500 and the TaylorMade Sim UDI. As I said, both of them provided that lovely kind of slightly higher pitched impact sound, yet still solid. I like the way that both of these felt. If I was choosing one of them based on feel, it's a tough call, but I think I'd probably go for the Titleist U500. So for this part of the video, we're going to show you how I got on with these utility irons when I hit them on the GC quad launch monitor using Titleist Pro V1X golf balls, and I was hitting them all off the deck. Now, before we show you the numbers, it's important to say that you need to take this information with a really healthy pinch of salt. I'm not a professional golfer, I'm a 5 handicapper, and I'm definitely not the most consistent golfer in the world. So it's worth bearing all of that in mind, as well as the fact that we tried our hardest, but we weren't able to get exactly the same spec for every golf club. In particular, there were some key differences with regards to the shafts you can see here. So what we're going to flash up on the screen now is the performance data that I was able to get. So these are the averages for each of the clubs that I was able to get during my testing. What is interesting is that you can see here how the design elements that are built into the different heads really do affect the performance. So the two biggest heads, the Titleist U510 and the TaylorMade DHY, delivered the two highest peak heights and also the longest carry numbers. Also, the Callaway was the lowest lofted on test, and as you would expect, delivered the lowest ball flight. For me though, in this category, there were two models that stood out. Both of them, I felt like I could make a really smooth swing and yet get really good distance and really good consistency of distance and forgiveness out of them. And those two models were the Ping G425 crossover and the Wilson Staff model. Okay, so here are the recommended retail prices for the 9 different models that I tested. And I think it's worth calling out the two least expensive on that list, and that's the Cobra King Utility and the Wilson Staff model. And I think when you couple the performance that I was able to get, personally, that I was able to get when I tested it on the GC Quad Launch Monitor and out here on the range, alongside that RRP, which is a little bit less than some of the others on the test, I think it's fair to say that the Wilson Staff model in particular offers excellent value for money. Okay, so when it comes to the best utility irons of 2021, there is an awful lot to like about the performance of the models that I've tested in this video, but I do think you'll need to think hard about what will work for you at the top end of your bag. In particular, which one do you think is going to make the difference to you when you're trying to compete under pressure? Now, for me, if it was my choice, I'm slightly going to sit on the fence here. I've picked two that I really liked. One that's more iron-like and one that's more hybrid-like in its look down behind the ball. Now, the more iron-like one that I've gone for is the Ping G425 crossover. I really love the black finish, but I'd say it probably has one of the slightly more thinner top lines. And for me, that would possibly be more intimidating down behind the ball. But when I was hitting it, it just was so easy to launch. I felt like I could put a really smooth swing on the ball and it was just popping up and getting away so easily time after time. I really enjoyed hitting the Ping G425 crossover. And then the more hybrid-like option that I've selected is the Titleist U510. This one, it still looks fantastic behind the ball, but it has a slightly thicker top line and it just pops the ball up and away with plenty of distance, lots of forgiveness. I really like the performance of this one as well. And finally, it would be wrong not to mention the Wilson Staff model. I think as an all-round performer, this is excellent. And when you throw in that recommended retail price, I think you get a fantastic club for a really great price. So there you have it. That's our look at the best utility irons of 2021. If you've enjoyed the video, please do hit the like button. And also leave some comments below. Are there any models that you think we've missed that you'd like to see us take a look at? We'd be really interested to hear what you have to say. But that's it for now. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.